We're going to get to our regular stuff, which is the Tesla news. We're going to talk about what's going to happen next week, as we always do on the Monday morning show here on Sunday night. But let me start with this just real quickly. I need friends of the channel. If you like what I do here, if you've been following me for a long time and you appreciate the hard work that goes into this channel, I've got this new book out, and I'm not going to beg you to buy the book. What I'm going to ask you to do right now is, if you have access to Amazon.com, you can go down, you can click on the link below, take you right to the page where the book is. I I want to call him a bad name, but I'm not going to do it. Some nasty person who had not read the book. If you read the review, you'll see this is clear, that this reviewer never read the book. The book is the opposite of the statements that he's making. I mean, literally the opposite of what he's saying about it. He gave like a 1-star rating, which is the lowest rating that you can give, which is, obviously messing up my entire ratings. And it's a nice long review. So, people might tend to read it and get the absolute opposite of the truth out of it. So what's been happening all day is my friends on X that I've been asking to do this, my Patreon followers, I've been asking everybody to please go on that page and just go right under the review. And it says something to the effect of report. And then you click on that report, and underneath there, it'll say various options. And I'm suggesting the closest one would be fake. In other words, fake. They didn't read the book. They don't know anything about the book, and they just wrote whatever they wanted to write because they wanted to spew about something. It's related to AI, but it's nothing to do with the book. So anyway, if you wouldn't mind doing that, and while you're there, you could buy the book or review the book if you've already read some of it. That would also be helpful to bury his review. All right, let's get into the news. Let me start here. I believe that there only remains one question with regard to robotaxi, and that is, what day will the FOMO start? One headline I saw suggested that there is a hesitation to commit to Tesla until after Elon's pay package is approved. And I can understand that. That could be true. We now clearly and obviously, though, we have the FSD solution. It's done. Can it be polished? Can it get better? Of course it can. But but basically it's done. And Elon's known this for a long time. He's known that it was done. He knows that he could have released it at any time. You could release you could release what he's doing right now and let people ride unsupervised, as long as you can have a conversation with Grok about what's going on. And that might be the last thing they need to do, is the Grok version where it's integrated. It's integrated into the driving of the car so that you can say to it, hey, I saw one just a few minutes ago where there's a narrow road and you cannot pass these cars that are parked without, it's a one-way road, and you can't pass these cars unless you drive up on the sidewalk, and the car wouldn't do that. But if you could talk to it, you could say, hey, it's okay to drive on the sidewalk. So just a few things like that. I think it's really taken care of. All right. So I'm just saying, as far as I'm concerned, we're off to the races. It's just a matter of time. You should not miss the at least 3 massive consequences. It's not just those robotaxi paid miles. Okay, that's going to be huge. It's going to be the biggest, but the other 2 are substantial. Number one, the first one of those is increasing car sales. I've talked about this for a long time, and then Elon Musk brought it up in the conference call, or the third quarter call the other day, and he said, "Hey, we're not going to be able to make enough cars once we have unsupervised. It's going to be the most amazing feature that's ever been offered in a car since automatic ignition." Anyway, it's going to be incredible. So please do that. Take care of that. And then the increase in FSD uptake. Those are like, $8,000 a piece, and it's free. It's free to make. They've already paid for it. So it's like incredibly profitable. Now, this is the other thing. This is the bonus. And you heard it here first. I started talking about it a couple of days ago. If you were watching, I woke up in the middle of the night and realized this. FSD should be mandatory on all cars. It should be mandatory. It saves lives, way more lives than lap belts or other kinds of passive restraints, or any of the new kinds of brakes, or any of the things that are now mandatory on cars. It saves way more lives than any of those. And so the fact that it saves lives It should be mandatory. It should be required. And they should set a schedule right now for when all cars that are being sold, new cars that are being sold, must have it. And if there's any way to incorporate or put FSD into cars that are on the road today, literally, you can make a strong argument that you should have to have your car retrofitted with FSD, because otherwise you're taking lives needlessly. You know, cars have been said for a long time to be death traps, and now there's an option. They don't have to be death traps. You know, there you could say, well, you know, and of course, what this means would be that FSD is it's really the only solution. And so people are going to have to buy FSD, or the other companies are going to have to buy FSD from Tesla. You say, well, other people have other systems, but they're going to have to be just as good. You can't like go to NISTA and say, hey, we've got a system that we want to put in our cars, and it's 80% of as good as the FSD. It'll only kill, you know, 2,000 people a year instead of Tesla killing none. I don't think they're going to go for that. So removing cars with meat drivers should be a government priority if there ever was one, saving 40,000 lives a year and 700,000 serious injuries. That should be like the biggest priority in Washington, D.C. right now. This would be the biggest breakthrough in history with regard to cars. So anyway, that's my thinking. Yeah, so the top takeaways from the X comments today with regard to 14.1.4, which rolled out very late last night, would be significantly reduced phantom braking and brake stabbing. Users report far fewer abrupt stops. The system now using a lighter single tap brakes instead of repeated stabbing, and this makes the ride feel smoother. Absolutely no major incidents in busy scenarios like the Las Vegas Strip, New York City, etc. Enhanced parking and destination handling. Auto park success hits 70% at least for correct spots. The driveway, parking lot, and charger work reliable, including garage exits with steep driveway adjustments to avoid scrapes. Street parking and supercharger selection are precise, though it may loop briefly before settling. Refined speed profiles and confidence. The standard mode is near perfect on city streets. Mad Max mode accelerates assertively without overwhelming. The scroll wheel adjustments for chill, standard, and hurry profiles add flexibility, though highway speed limits often push 9 to 10 miles over the limit. Do you drive 9 to 10 miles over the limit? Do you sometimes drive 15 to 20 miles over the limit, especially on freeways? Better navigation in complex scenarios, handles detours, road closures, signs, proactively, excels in roundabouts, unprotected turns, and pedestrian-heavy areas, zero interventions and flawless tests, including curved driveway reversals, and hand gestures are also working. People talking about being in Costco parking and having people using hand gestures to let you know that they're pulling out, and the car is understanding it. Lingering concerns. Swerving and path following issues. The phantom swerves for non-existent debris persist, especially in tunnels, and the car aggressively mirrors erratic lead vehicles, leading to jarring corrections. Number two, hesitant or confused lane change maneuvers. Auto changes abort mid-maneuver or keep blinkers on despite barriers, causing an oscillation or driver confusion, most notably on highways. Minor hesitation, number three, and indecision. Occasionally pauses, stops for obstacles, may request steering input in low light. Overall, smoother than 14.1.3, but not intervention-free in 100% of edge cases. And then the parking spot detection gaps fails to prompt alternatives when no spots are found. So yeah, what are you going to do when you get in the parking lot? You go around 3 times and there's still nothing. Overall, 14.1.4 is praised for everyday reliability, for errands, charging stops, and it feels like a success for fixing key regressions. But swerving hesitation holds it back from V13 smoothness. Users anticipate a 14.2 for polish. More data coming from wider rollout expected soon. All right. So then, this is Randy Kirk, by the way. What's coming up this week? Well, there's one big thing coming up, but what won't be coming up tomorrow is the durable goods orders and durable goods minus transportation because the government shut down. So we're not going to get that information. On Tuesday, there are two reports that will be coming out because they're not government reports. And one of those will be the Case-Shiller Home Price Index, where they give us the top 20 cities. And I'm seeing notes here and there that the drop in prices is kind of flattening out a little bit now. I kind of predicted that when the mortgage rates came down, we'd start to see this. Consumer, did I kind of predict that? No, I predicted it. I said spring will be just fine. Prices will start rising again, but maybe not a lot. Consumer confidence will be out on Tuesday, and they're predicting that that will go down just a little tiny bit from 94.2 to 94.0. I will see how that works out. Consumers should be confident, but we'll talk about it. I've got a show coming up later tonight. Probably put it out about 8 o'clock when the games are all done. I'll put the show out, and this show is going to be taking everything. It's going to breaking down where we are in the economy. It's going to take, I got three articles there. The combination of these three articles really lay it out. I think you'll really like that show. Highly recommend. If you're interested in the economy, watch later tonight to see what I have to say there. Well, what I have to say about the articles, of course, because the articles are carrying the show. On Wednesday, we have no advanced U.S. trade balance in goods. We have we do have pending home sales. That'll be good. They're expecting that to go down from 4% increase to only a 1% increase. But a 1% increase in October, would that be October or maybe that's September numbers. Okay. Then we've got, then Wednesday, I don't know, it's kind of important. The Fed is going to decide whether or not to drop a quarter percent on the interest rates, and everybody thinks it's a fait accompli. It's just a matter of maybe hearing a little bit from the chair about what's going to happen in December and next year. Most people think the December thing is built in. So what could hurt the market? Well, what could hurt the market would be that they don't give us, they're more hawkish about, well, we got to take a really hard look before December before we can make a decision. On Thursday, we will not be getting the government initial, well, we might, who knows, government could be open by then, but I doubt it. Initial jobless claims coming on Thursday from Bloomberg and others. Last week, I couldn't get it before the Thursday morning show. I had to report it on a Friday. So we'll see what happens if it comes out a little earlier this time. And then the GDP would be coming out also, which would be lovely to see, but it will not be coming out. Then we got some Fed speakers because after the Fed does their thing, then these Fed governors and presidents can go out and get back on the speaking tour. We will not get personal income, consumer spending, PCE, etc. We will get the Chicago Business Barometer, and then more speaking from those governors and presidents. All right. Where are we on trueflation today? Okay, so it's up a little bit. So we're seeing a little bit of an increase right now in the trueflation numbers. I went through the categories. We're seeing a little bit of an increase in groceries. We're seeing a little bit of an increase in personal items. We're seeing a little bit of an increase in things like clothing. These would be indicative of maybe some tariff impact. Okay, and remember, 0.4 overall. 0.4, 0.5 might be 0.6% of the overall inflation is going to come from from tariffs. Okay, it's going to happen. I mean, you can't put these massive tariffs on. But the reason I say that, again, let me just do the math for you, just real quick. 30% of the economy is goods. The rest is services. So start with only 30% are impacted by these tariffs. Then you add to that, only 30% of the goods that are imported. The 70% are made here in the States. So 30% times 30%, you get 9%. Okay, you've got an average of 15% tariff. So you take the 15% average and you multiply that times the 9%, you get 4%. Okay, so there you are. That's how you get it. So we'll see. That's my goal. And by the way, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Powell, exactly quoted my number, 0.4%. So what do we have here? So the goods inflation is starting to hit a little bit in these numbers on Truflation. And so what you've got is the overall overnight number bouncing up to 2.48. So they must have gotten some stats in over the last couple of days, up to 2.48. We were down around 2.25, I want to say. So that's a pretty healthy increase. Then we've got the goods up to 2.82. You see how that's the goods that are impacting it the most. The core, though, is still down at 2.36. Why is that? Because gasoline prices are coming down big time. And then you've got, because gasoline prices are not included in the core. Does that make sense? No, that doesn't make sense. If you take those out, I guess because housing prices are coming down. Anyway, core is up a little bit also, but it's still sitting at 2.36. Services is only going up at 2.3. And the PCE overall is at 2.68, which is also up fairly a great deal from Friday morning when last I reported it to you. All right, so then we want to know what's happening with the rest of all these other markets out there. So we will go and find that. Just a second. I'm on the wrong page. That's my problem. I'm wrong. You got to be on the right page. So let's see here. What we've got is we've got the pre-market. No, let's go to the bonds first. Let's always do it in the same order because that way we kind of get used to that. Well, the bonds are up a little here. I don't know why. Up 2.7 basis points, putting it at 4.024. But again, 4.024 is awfully close to 4. So it's not bothering me a horrible amount yet. I'm really wishing it would just keep on going back down to 3.95 or 3.75. Oil is up 41 cents at 61.91. That's great. Natural gas actually up 2.48% at 339 again. Gold is down 57. We're at 4,080. If we break back down below 4,000, well, let's put it this way. I would expect 4,000 to be a barrier. I would expect it to be a floor. It'd be hard to go below the 4,000 number. Silver is down 0.95%, not quite as much as gold at 48 and 13 cents. And copper's up 1.67 at $5.21. So it's come down a bit from where it was late last week. You got the dollar down against both the yen and the euro. You've got Bitcoin having a very good day, along with the markets actually. 2,778 for the day at 114,431. I didn't look at it yesterday, so it must have also been up yesterday because we were under 110 on Friday. We've got the equities right now up 0.57 for the Dow at 47,668, all-time record. S&P up 0.66 at 6,872. That's $100 or 100 points over the all-time high of just the middle of last week when we were 67 and 67.70, something like that. And the NASDAQ is up 0.83% at 25,721, another all-time high. So there you go. All right. So you know what's coming up at 8 o'clock tonight. So don't forget to watch that. And then what about last night? What about last night? Last night was so long ago. Okay. No, let's go to Brian Wang this morning. Brian Wang did a show this morning where he was talking about the FSD and the details of when it's likely to roll out. When do we get to 1,000 cars? That would be a good one to go back and check that out. There seems, oh yes, and tonight on the show this evening, I will give you an update on where Tesla is on the overnights. And I'll probably take a quick look to see if any of this is changing, at that time as well. All right, that's all I got for you right now, I think, unless you can think of anything I forgot. It's been great talking to you.